I was thinking about a thing that came up on Core the other night. If you aren't listening to Core, you should be. Frogpants.com/core. It's also here on the YouTube channel. Something came up about how, and we got into a really good conversation about it, but about why big companies are buying all the IPs and studios and then consolidating them under one roof. Microsoft as an example, but everybody, Sony, they all do it. And it's interesting, right? Because on the one hand, you're like, well, no, that's good. A big war chest, all the money behind it, and then these studios can be. This is how they sell it. These studios can be free to do their creative best, and we're just here to support it and make it happen or whatever. That's kind of the thing that we're told. And I'm more convinced than ever, especially after thinking about it so much after that conversation, that I think a lot of this is just simply down to the landscape is changing to the point where players, certainly game developers, but players are starting to wonder why do we need publishers? What is the point of a publisher? Outside one obvious thing, which is, PR money and, spreading it all over the internet and whatever. But back in the day, a publisher was required because if you wanted to fill shelves at a Walmart, or KB Toys or wherever you're selling your games, Toys R Us, whatever, you needed a publisher because that's literally what they did. They would manufacture cartridges and discs and packaging and manuals and all of that, and then work with retailers to stock shelves and do all the logistics and everything. That was a huge part. In fact, mostly what publishers would do. But we live in a landscape now that is much more straight to digital, and as a result, I'm starting to think that we don't need them as much. We certainly don't need them as much. I think that's just the truth. So when you see publishers consolidate, buy up IPs and developers and consolidate them, I think it might be that that's because they're becoming a dinosaur part of the industry, and the only way to survive it is to own it all, so that they're no longer a middleman. They're just the man. Do you know what I mean? Because the middleman is getting moved away. If you're a small indie publisher, or you're a small indie developer rather, and you want to get your game up on various, stores or whatever, you can do that without the intermediary. You don't need them. You don't need the middleman publisher anymore. You just do it. Tons of examples of that. I mean, Steam alone is just chock full of it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about it this morning. I think that's a thing. I think publishers, as in their traditional role, they just don't exist anymore. It's not a thing. And so when you see them buy up developers, I'm not even saying it's inherently negative, although it kind of feels like it is. So whatever. But just know they're not doing it because they're like, oh yeah, we believe in gamers. Hey gamers, we heard you. They're not doing that. They're stocking up. They're hoarding IPs for the day, which might even be now, when they as publishers are just not needed anymore. And in the end, that may not be good because all that independence gone. All these single, smaller, mid-size, whatever, devs known for quality and amazing content and games and stuff are just, now they're under one umbrella. They could be shut down anytime. If their game just happens to fall short of however many millions of copies that the quote-unquote publisher needed them to make, well, let's just shutter them or squeeze them into another place or lose half of them and then combine them with another team and whatever. I'm not trying to bring y'all down today, okay? It's already a little crazy day. Happy election day. I'm just saying. You know what I'm telling you? I'm not telling you how to think. I'm telling you that my perception of it is evolving. I think I was a little too optimistic early on in this acquisition phase. And it's been going on for a long time. It's not that it's new. It's just that it was so accelerated with this Microsoft acquisition of so many publishers and, Bethesda and all that entails. And then the Activision Blizzard acquisition. I mean, these are massive studio acquisitions and all the small stuff, the Obsidians of the world and that sort of thing. All we can hope for is Microsoft. In this particular case, we could talk about anybody, but let's just focus on them because they're a big one lately. I just hope that they I don't know why. This is naive. I want them to be good stewards. So all I can do is hope that they are, and we as a collective player base, don't get hosed in the process. Oh, hi.